In Ein Karem, near Jerusalem, the nativity of St. John the Baptist was celebrated. From the hermitage in the middle of nature where his mother St. Elizabeth hid him from King Herod's persecution to the shrine built on the site of his birth. The Israeli Ministry of Tourism is trying to increase the number of tourists allowed to enter the country. To this end, the pilot program for organized groups have been expanded. Up to 1,000 vaccinated visitors will be admitted. To date, 20 groups have visited the Holy Land. His Beatitude, Mgr Pierbattista Pizzaballa, Patriarch of Jerusalem of the Latins, ordained Deacon Nadim Giacaman a priest on Sunday the 19th of June in St. Catherine's Church in Bethlehem. The ordination was concelebrated by a group of bishops and priests in the presence of the new priest's family, friends, and many faithful. The pandemic didn't stop the music school of the Custody of the Holy Land. Online and in-person lessons, end-of-year concerts, and a dream coming true. The talent of pianist Mohammed Al-Sheikh, a Magnificat student who will perform at the end of July in the Greek theatre of Taormina, Italy. From Jordan to Assisi to discover the beauty of Madaba and Mount Nebo, the exhibition Madaba, the City of Mosaics, was inaugurated on the 18th of June at the University of Perugia in Assisi, Italy. Various objects of Palestinian art, including jewelry and clothing, will be displayed in the Terra Museum. Unique pieces skillfully restored by the adorers of the Blessed Sacrament Sisters of Bethlehem. St. John in the Desert. The name comes from the Gospel passage that tells of the birth of John the Baptist. The child grew and was strengthened in spirit. He lived in the deserted regions until the day of his manifestation to Israel. A place of genuine beauty, it preserves the richness of centuries-old traditions. The sound of water flows non-stop from the spring that forms the center of the monastic settlement. This noise comes from the spring, which is called Ein Karem, and recalls the story of a hermit. Translated precisely, it means spring of the hermit. In the large stone block, a cave recalls other events in the life of John the Baptist. This is a natural cave that has been enlarged over time. Tradition has it that it was in this cave that St. Elizabeth hid with her son John, later to become the Baptist, from the persecution of King Herod. We see a recent fresco from 2004 by friars from Italy depicting the hiding of John by his mother Elizabeth. On the eve of the Feast of St. John, the bell rings announcing the start of the celebration. From Jerusalem, Ein Karem, and the surrounding area, the faithful arrive to celebrate in the prayer of Vespers presided over by Brother Dobromir Yatsal, custodial vicar, together with Franciscans and religious of the local communities. Everyone goes in procession to the grotto where the Gospel according to Luke is proclaimed, which narrates the mission of John the Baptist. As it is written in the book of the prophet Isaiah, a voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight his paths. In his comments, Brother Dobromir, custodial vicar of the Custody of the Holy Land, underlined two aspects concerning the figure of St. John and his mission.
First
of all, the place, the environment in which he carried out his mission and the people he addressed. Secondly, the content of the message he addressed to his contemporaries, which he continues to address to each one of us. John, first of all, invites us to conversion. He shows us the only effective way to make room for the Lord, to welcome him. The second aspect is that of content. John himself becomes a voice in the wilderness. Prepare a way for the Lord. This invitation to prepare the way for the Lord does not mean to do something that facilitates the Lord's passage next to us, but it means to commit ourselves spiritually in our hearts to prepare the place to welcome the Lord, not to let him pass by, but to welcome him within us, in our lives and in our existence. Brother Dobromir has a strong bond with this place located far from the city. Today it is no longer considered a desert area because there is abundant vegetation all around. Whoever comes here, says the custodial vicar, can detach himself not only from the noise of the city, but also from all the worries, the burdens of daily life. This in order to dedicate himself, to open himself to listening to the Word of God, to what this Word wants to communicate to each one of us. On the day of the solemnity, Thursday the 24th of June, Mass was celebrated in the Church of the Nativity of St. John the Baptist, in the place indicated as the House of Zacharias. In 1485, the Franciscans discovered the Chapel of the Nativity of the Baptist. In his homily, Brother Dobromir invited everyone to immerse themselves in the depths of the mystery of his life and mission. The text of Isaiah speaks to us of the meaning and nature of the mission entrusted to the one who receives a name, a call, and a revelation from the Lord. These circumstances are well suited to St. John the Baptist. He is the one who will bring the salvation of God to the ends of the earth and will point to the one who takes away the sins of the world.
In sanctitate justitia coram ipsum, omnibus diebus nostris.
The pilot program launched by the Israeli Ministry of Tourism has recently been extended to allow the arrival of more organized groups for a total number of 1,000 visitors. 20 groups have so far entered the Holy Land after the coronavirus pandemic slowed down and life returned to normal. Today we have hope. We saw the light at the end of the tunnel when we heard and saw the first group of pilgrims coming from abroad to Bethlehem. We encourage people from all over the world to come and visit the Grotto of the Nativity, the Grotto of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are here and we are confident that we will be able to welcome everyone soon. Signs of a small recovery also come from local domestic tourism. I am here in Jerusalem to assess the current situation before the tourists return. We are happy that the coronavirus pandemic and the chaos here at least are over, and we are so happy to be able to move around and go on tours without masks. This is the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre. We are starting to see people here too. It means that tourism is picking up again. Naturally, the sanctuaries are among the most important places visited by pilgrims.
The pilgrims are part of our community. And we need them. We need them, first of all, because we need to breathe with the two lungs, the pilgrims and the locals. We need also to see the hug of the universal church to our church, but also we need to see the solidarity, the presence of pilgrims here. So I hope that pilgrims will come back to enjoy the beauty and the wonderful experience of the pilgrimage of Holy Land.
In an atmosphere of prayer and joy, His Beatitude Archbishop Pierbattista Pizzaballa, Patriarch of Jerusalem of the Latins, ordained Deacon Nadim Giacaman of Bethlehem a priest last 19th of June in St. Catherine's Church. The priestly ordination was concelebrated by a group of bishops and priests in the presence of the new priest's family, friends and many faithful.
I'm especially happy because he's a son of the parish of Bethlehem. There are very few priests coming from Bethlehem. I'm very happy of this. May the Lord bless him, his family, and the parish of Bethlehem, and all the inhabitants of Bethlehem.
In his homily, Mgr Pizzaballa emphasized, "In church you will never be alone. Jesus will always be with you and you will feel his presence." I am very happy with this great blessing I have received, which in the end is not for me but for the whole church. I ask God to continue to send us new vocations so that we can always serve the Mother Church. God bless you all.
Knowing well this church, I see continuously how many are the needs of our communities everywhere, in all the different fields, information, in education, in the parishes, in the youth and so on. The harvest is huge, and we need workers in the harvest. We need a lot of priests, religious, that dedicate their life to serve the community and to let the community grow.
After the Patriarch laid his hands on the new priest, an emotional applause broke out in the church. The moment when Father Nadim embraced his parents with great affection was a great joy. I have 2 children, one for God and one for me. I thank God for everything. This is a grace and a blessing for me, for my family, and for the people of Bethlehem. A celebration that continued in the church courtyard with dancing and singing to the rhythm of drums and bagpipes as an expression of joy at the union of Father Nadim Giacaman with the workers of the Lord's vineyard. During the pandemic, music shortens distances. It has certainly been a year of challenges for everyone, but for music even more so, because teaching online is really complicated. This was also the case for the Magnificat Institute, the music school of the Custody of the Holy Land. Our teachers are very creative. Technology helped us so the music never stopped. As soon as we were able to return to normal attendance, we stepped up our lessons and rehearsals a bit so that we could organize class concerts and the Spring Ayar festival at the end of the year. The desire to make music is therefore stronger than the pandemic. Since the end of May, a series of concerts have taken place. The first at the convent of St. Saviour featured the Institute's pianists. The second, the ensembles and orchestra, while the third, held in the church of the Terra College in Jerusalem, featured the ensembles and several soloists. Very nice concerts. We reached a lot of people, also with the media that transmitted with pictures, videos and live broadcasts. The professors, teachers and families were happy. Contradictions, peculiarities of making music at such a difficult time, but also unexpected surprises. In this school, where everyone is welcomed for their identity without discrimination and without barriers, the extraordinary talent of Mohammed al-Sheikh, a pianist from Ramallah, crosses the borders of the Holy Land, a dream coming true. We were contacted by the organizers of the Taormina Music Festival in Sicily, who saw in a television report the story of one of our students who was stuck in Ramallah for a few months during the pandemic. He had expressed the desire to perform in an international theatre to be able to tell the world that Palestinians can do beautiful things like music. And so, at the end of July, we will go with him to Taormina and we will be able to perform in the city's Greek theatre. On Monday the 21st of June at the Immaculate Hall of the Custody of the Holy Land, students, teachers and families were able to enjoy in the front row a small preview of the concert which will be held in Italy. We are happy that the Magnificat carries its message of peace also outside the Holy Land. From Jordan to Assisi to discover the beauty of Madaba Mount Nebo, the place today in Jordan from which God showed Moses the promised land and where the prophet venerated by the three monotheistic religions died. The exhibition Madaba, the City of Mosaics, opened on the 18th of June at the University of Perugia in Assisi, Italy. Open until the 30th of August, it contains a 1:1 scale walkable reproduction of the mosaic floor of the Memorial of Moses and a large selection dedicated to the great archaeological recovery work carried out by the Studium Biblicum Franciscanum. Among those present at the inauguration ceremony there were Brother Francesco Patton, Custos of the Holy Land, and the President of the Umbria region, Donatella Tesi. The custody of the Holy Land is multiplying its effort to expand and promote the Terra Sancta Museum, a museum that has always contributed to preserving the cultural and historical heritage of the Holy Land, as well as strengthening the local Christian identity.
The second section of the Terra Sancta Museum we are planning to open will be divided in two sections, two different kinds of the Christian presence in the Holy Land. The Christian presence through the pilgrims, that is very important, but also the presence of the local Christians that live in the Holy Land. So there will be room dedicated to the art craft of the Mother of Pearl, that is very important in Palestine, and also these kinds of hat and jewelry that are very important in the Palestinian tradition in the weddings.
Thanks to recent studies conducted by researcher George Al-Ama, an expert on Palestinian art, a collection of jewelry and clothes expressing the ancient local culture will be on display.
هاي الكنوز هي مواد تراث ثقافي بتخص الفلسطينيين وجودها.
These treasures belong to the Palestinian cultural heritage and help to document the relationship of the custody of the Holy Land with the local Palestinians. Here we see three very important headpieces, one of which was used in the villages round Hebron and two in Ramallah. These are unique pieces of Palestinian clothing that are among the rarest in the world. There are only 12 examples of this type in the whole world, and all of them are traceable. Among these rarities we have this piece that is 90% complete. It is a headpiece dating back to Ottoman times that we call Wukiyat Adarahim, made of 3,000 to 4,000 pieces of silver. In the past, it was given to the bride on her wedding night by the sheikh, head of the village. Every village had one.
تكون موجودة منها قطعة واحدة عند كل شيخ قرية بتم إعارتها للعروس فقط لاستخدامها يوم العرس.
During Ottoman rule, coins were often used in the creation of jewelry and were sewn into headdresses.
عندنا هون مجموعة ضخمة ونادرة أيضا من الحلي الفلسطينية المصنوعة من الفضة الخالصة. عندنا البغمة.
We also have a large and rare collection of Palestinian jewelry made of pure silver. There is al-bagma, which the Palestinian woman wore around her neck, and al-zinak, which was worn on the chin and connected with pieces to the head through the shatwa of the city of Bethlehem. We also have other pieces such as the hoop that was placed over the shatwa and some jewelry such as earrings and other items. As an expert in this field, what attracted my attention the most was the wonderful, meticulous and scientific work done by the sisters. These rare pieces of art were in fact restored by the Sisters Adorers of the Blessed Sacrament, a congregation present at the Milk Grotto near the Church of the Nativity. The Terra Sancta Museum highlights the deep bond between the local faithful and pilgrims from all over the world, a bond that, on the one hand, has contributed to enrich the history of the local church in the Holy Land, and on the other to strengthen the bond between the living stones and the Franciscan custody of the Holy Land.